Well, joining us now is Ben Crump to talk about what they've found so far and what they are hoping to find from the authorities down in Mississippi. Ben, welcome back to TMZ Live.
Hey, thank you, Charles, for having me. Thank you for covering this matter.
Yeah, we have been all over this story, and I know everybody wants answers, and we are doing our best to try and see what we can find. But with this autopsy, the independent autopsy that you did, you mentioned that obviously, I think the part that people are really focusing on is that you mentioned that there was this discoloration, this red coloration on the back of Nolan's head. Um, did the examiner who looked at him have any inkling about what that might be? Could it be blunt force trauma? And I understand that the cause of death and manner is undetermined, but is it possible that it was blunt force trauma?
Well, he wants to be able to give his theories and opinions before the grand jury in Mississippi as to the possible causes of the red discoloration in the back of Nolan Wells' head near the occipital region of the brain. And so it's very significant. He concluded that it was undetermined pending further investigation, the manner and cause of death. But he did find that very significant that you had this red discoloration in the back of his brain in that occipital region of the brain, of the head. Also, he found it very significant. He said that they did not send his throat with his body in the second autopsy. He said when he was the chief medical examiner of DC, this is something that's common. He said normally he would do it when they were investigating and studying whether there were fractures to the neck or some kind of, compressions to his vertebrae.
Right.
So that is significant, he found. And the most significant thing he said, what is the crux of the matter that we do not know, and that is what was the condition of Nolan Wells' body when he entered the water? Was he conscious or was he unconscious? Was he forced into the water or was he unforced into the water? He said those are going to be very significant in a potential drowning death case where you had a person who was able to swim.
Ben, was your examiner able to? I know you said that just like the throat was removed. What about the lungs? That you mentioned that the initial autopsy that the lungs had been dissected, but was your examiner able to see the lungs at all, or were they also removed?
No, they were able to see the lungs. However, Charles, remember the state medical examiner for Mississippi got to observe the body when it was first recovered. And that Dr. Roger Mitchell, the independent pathologist that we hired, he would not have seen the body until 6 days later. And the body had, as he said, severe decomposed. And it is one of those things that he is going to have to rely on photographs that were taken by the Mississippi medical examiner. We would believe that they would have taken photographs and their observations, whether there was water in the lungs and water in his airways. We know that some from the United Cajun Navy said that his body didn't seem bloated when they found him, that they didn't see his body as waterlogged. So all these things are significant as we try to figure out why Nolan Wells is dead.
Yeah, Ben, how were Nolan's parents? How did they receive when? I'm sure before the news conference this morning, you had gone over the autopsy results, the independent autopsy results with them. How were they when they got those results? Was it disappointing to them? Were they, obviously they want to know what happened to their son. Were they disappointed that, because of all those conditions you just mentioned, the examiner was not able to determine a manner or cause of death?
Well, Charles, they were alarmed, as many of us were, at the, red discoloration in the back of his head. They were alarmed that he didn't have his throat with the body. and they want answers. They have been very consistent. They do not accept that nobody didn't know anything, that nobody didn't see anything. And so when you think about the fact that Reverend Al and Mr. Tyler Perry and Mr. Terrell Owens has put up this $125,000 reward, that is because we know somebody saw something. Somebody knows something. There were over 300, 400 people out there on Horn Island that day. We, on our Nolan Wells tip line, we've received over hundreds of calls with video, people saying what they saw, people having photographs. And it's important that the people who knew something, who saw something, that they call us. Is critically important.
To that point, Ben, I don't know if you've seen, there's a video that we were able to obtain, and we posted this yesterday. And I don't know if you have seen it yet, but the person who shot it pointed this out, gave a copy of this to the police because they believe that it could be Nolan. There's an image of a young man who's bent over on the back deck of a boat. And the trunks certainly look like the same color that Nolan was wearing on July 4th. And, all we can see, he never stands up, so we can't see his face. But they thought this could be Nolan. And I'm wondering if the family has seen this, or if you're at any contact with any of Nolan's friends who might have seen this, who could say, yeah, that's him. Because the police are trying to determine that. We don't know if they've figured out if it's him. Have you seen this video?
Well, my team of investigators and our team of lawyers have received that video and received many others. And we've received witnesses saying that they say it's Nolan, but until we can confirm these allegations, we want to be careful to say that witnesses have said that this is Nolan. And we also have videos where you have people having exchanges, disputes, and people have said that was Nolan. So we're trying to dot every I and cross every T because it's so critically important that this family gets answers, that the country gets answers.
You said that your investigators have been getting a lot of tips about videos and photos, and I'm wondering if there's anybody coming forward, because you said something that is so true, where there's so many people who are out there in Horn Island. Whatever it is that happened to Nolan, even if it is accidental, but whatever it is that happened, it just seems implausible that no one has seen anything. I'm wondering if you are having any luck hearing from people who are actually on the island who saw him. I mean, obviously, even in the image that we have, that they may or may not be him, but there were so many people there. It just seems implausible that whatever happened to this young man, someone didn't see anything. Are you hearing from people who are on the island?
We are hearing from people on the island, and the Nolan Wells tip line at bencrump.com is getting a lot of hits and submissions. And that 800 number that we want to encourage everybody to call at the Ben Crump Call Center is 1-888-991-1772.
Okay.
And we are going to take detailed information from you.
Okay. What have you heard from, your independent autopsy is complete now. Have you heard anything from the Sheriff's Department as to when their results are going to be available? Because obviously they have the throat. They, were able to look at his lungs, and as well, they're going to have the toxicology, which that's going to be the really telling thing here. Have you heard from them when those results might be available?
No, we haven't. And remember, our autopsy is not complete. It's undetermined pending further investigations. That's very important to note, Charles, because we need to examine the throat. We also want to see the pictures. We want to know whether his lungs and airways have water in them. Those things are significant if we're trying to be transparent. And they told us they're going to be transparent. So we're going to see if we can take them at their word. Furthermore, I think it's vitally important that we continue to underscore that the toxicology is important, but it's not the end all. Charles, if he went into the water with all those people on Horn Island, somebody knows something, somebody saw something. And that is the crux of the matter. That is what's going to be an issue. You know, the cell phones, all toxicology, all play a part. But what did people see? Somebody knows what happened to Nolan Wells.
All right. Ben, thank you so much.
Thank you all for covering this matter.